right, man, let's talk about the best of the rest, the last best free agent for the Detroit Pistons that's left. Check out Detroit Pistons Talk playlist, down to the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. But let's get to it, right? I believe Middleton is expected to sign with uh, the Miami Heat. So you got some guys that's out there. Just some of these top guys, some of these guys restricted, but at this point you don't probably need Ryu Hachimura or Jonathan Kaminga. But if the price is right, I think you knock down that door. I think Harden to be back in Cleveland. LeBron, I only want no LeBron. So I mean, obviously, I think JD would be back in Detroit. So let's kind of, where the Pistons need help at is guard, right? When you look at this guard position, it's a couple names that stand out here. I think the number one name for most fans is Benedict Mathurin. Benedict Mathurin is probably the guy today. If DeMar DeRozan is the floor, is the worst case scenario. No disrespect to him. I mean, I think this is the guy that you go after if you're the Detroit Pistons. Last year, 16 points a game. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well and played 78 games with the Clippers, but also he had 37% shooting the season before from 3, 34, 31. So he ain't the best shooter of the basketball. But one thing about Benedict Mathurin is, athletic wing, big, pretty big for his position. And, contrary to popular belief, I feel like he can shoot the ball a lot better than what he's shown. I think he can shoot the ball, and I think he still got all-star type of potential. You know what I mean? So I think you could put him right there with Cade and Asar Thompson, and I think he'll be okay. I think, this is one of those things where he already gave you around 18 points a game. I mean, minutes per game, 28 minutes, 30 minutes. So he's kind of playing starter minutes, kind of, used to coming off the bench, as of now since he got into the league. But I think at 23 years old, he probably be 24 this year. You kind of like, all right, man, we can be there when he takes off. Defensively locked in, came off the bench. I think that possibly will be a huge steal. For the Detroit Pistons. I think that's pretty much. You got a guy that's still young. You got a guy that got a lot of upside. You got that guy that has a lot of upside at that potential, and potential, and he's still fairly young. So he is young, and he got a lot of potential there. So it's a lot of potential there still. I mean, he young. I think that's the guy they probably should be calling, especially if they're not going to make a trade. Going down there, a lot of people are going to talk about Bradley Beal, kind of like his superpowers kind of left him kind of when he left Washington. And then last year played 6 games last year in Phoenix, But one thing about Bradley Beal, he can shoot it. He can shoot it, man. And he's 33 years old. He's still fairly young. I know he had an injury. I'm not sure what Bradley Beal's, injury was, but high character guy. Once again, he might fit the bill a little bit better. He had a fractured left hip. So I don't know. I don't know what he got left. I mean, you think you probably believe that he was a better fit than DeMar DeRozan. You would think he was a better fit than DeMar DeRozan because he can shoot the ball. But in general, coming off a fractured left hip, depend on, how the doctors look at his return. You just need him to shoot that shot and defend, but he wouldn't be the worst case scenario if he can be healthy. You got other guys, a guy like Jordan Clarkson didn't do much on the Knicks. I think possibly on the downside of his career, you got a guy like Russell Westbrook. I don't really think you want to put that in the mix. Gary Payton II, another, veteran guy that can defend. He's going to fit right in with toughness, defense, but you don't really see him more as a coming in and starting. Not a great shooter. not really a great shooter. So, but toughness, he fits that way, but not the shooter that you're looking for. Bruce Brown was a guy who was already here. Apparently he got cut because he didn't, or they traded him because he didn't come to a voluntary practice. I think he said that. I did a short on that some years ago. Um, in general, Bruce shot the ball at 38%. In Denver last year, I don't think he could recapture that magic that he had. One thing about Bruce, he's a capable shooter. Not the greatest shooter, but championship experience, good defender. Been here before, 29 years young, so still pretty young in the game. Solid shooter. That's a guy that you can put back there with Cade, and he defends at a high level. But other than that, it really ain't other guys to talk about. You can talk about Cam Thomas, attitude. Already kind of got a bad rap for his attitude. Don't shoot the ball at the highest level, but he shot the ball well in Brooklyn that last year. He didn't shoot it well, but he's a good shooter, good scorer. But I just think his attitude is probably gonna keep him out the league for a minute. So I mean, but then you might say, hey man, what about the forward position? Really nothing really there. Shout out to Jeff Green for still getting to the chili. Yeah, nothing really there. But yeah, I mean, if you want to take a fire on Middleton, on Kaminga, Ryu, Hachimura still, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. You go to the center position, and I think Looney is headed somewhere. I think he headed to New York or somewhere. He was headed somewhere. So really ain't nothing really there. You probably, if anything, at the 5 position, you're looking for a stretch 5, and ain't too many there. But in general, those are a few guys they can look at. I think the number one target is a guy like Benedict Mathurin. If we keeping it all the way 1,000, Benedict Mathurin. If you're looking to get a little bit more sexy with the wing position, then you're probably looking at the brother Kaminga, or the Kaminga, his versatility at wing, or Ryu Hachimura, as some John Collins insurance. But in general, I think the number one guy that they're, if they're looking at a guy in these scenarios, I think the number one guy that they're looking at is I think the number one guy that they're looking at is Benedict Mathurin. So that's just my opinion on it. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. You got Detroit Pistons Talk players from reveals like this. Let me know in the comment section. You can find me everywhere. It says find me everywhere in the description. Peace.